Now, in this module, we had a look at how we can have an easier time developing or building Node.js applications, I guess. And for this, we started with NPM, the Node Package Manager, which allows us to manage our project and mostly its dependencies, but also which added this package.json and gave us the opportunity of adding scripts there. So with npm init, you can initialize a new project. You basically add a package.json with that command. And then you saw that you can use scripts to, well, define shortcuts to commands you run all the time anyways. We also use npm to install third-party packages though. Because Node projects typically don't just use the core modules or your own code, but often you want to pull in third-party packages. Utility packages like NodeMon, as we did it here, but also, as you will see in the next section, real big packages that we use in our production code. Express.js is what we'll install there. You can install different kinds of dependencies, which doesn't really make a difference. You could use them all even without specifying any of these options, but it helps you keep track of which dependency you're using for what. --save and --save dev allow you to differentiate between production and development dependencies, and global dependencies with -g can be run from within the terminal without getting a command not found error. Speaking of errors, well, in your code you often have errors. That is absolutely normal. And there are different types of errors you can have a look at. Syntax, runtime, and logical errors are the three categories of errors I identified. Syntax and runtime errors at least throw a hopefully helpful error message, and you should read these messages and look at the line numbers they give you, because that often helps you find out what went wrong and how to fix this. Logical errors often are more difficult to fix, but you can fix them often with a lot of testing and possibly the help of the debugger, which you learned how to use with the help of Visual Studio Code in this section. Speaking of debugging, debugging can be a helpful process because you can use VS Code or debuggers of other IDEs that can be used with Node to look into your code whilst it's running and step through it step by step. You can analyze variable values at runtime, and you can not just look into them, but you can also manipulate them as you learned. You do all that by setting breakpoints so that you define when your code execution should stop and give you an opportunity to look into the code. You can define more than one breakpoint at a time, and you should manage them cleverly. Keep in mind how Node code executes, that it's not line after line, but that it works with callbacks and is event-driven. And therefore, if you want to look into a callback, you have to add the breakpoint there and not right before it. With all that, you hopefully got useful tools that help you build your Node.js applications.